All right. So the purpose of this video is to talk about the different parts of the body of an outline and how they connect to the thesis itself. Like a thesis in an English paper, we need to go ahead and make sure that all the points we talk about in this thesis statement show up and are detailed in these quote unquote body paragraphs. They're not actually paragraphs, as you can see, but each point in the thesis gets its own main point in the body of the outline. So, like we talked about here, preparation is going to be the first step. The hunt for the geocache is going to be the second step. And then what we do once we found the geocache is going to be the third step. As you can see, my language in this body paragraph points to that. So before setting out on a geocaching adventure, all the materials that you'll need for the trip need to be gathered. That's a great transition sentence. What we would call a topic sentence in an English paper. So let's look at the structure of this for just a little bit. You'll notice, first of all, this is not a standard paragraph. In fact, we've got a number of different symbols, Roman numerals, capital letters, standard numerals, and then lowercase letters, etc., to go ahead and show the separation of ideas. Now, if you would, think of the main idea, the one with this Roman numeral, as the broadest aspect that we can get on a specific point. So here we're just introducing this idea of gathering materials, things that we're going to need to do before we go geocaching. A and B then are specific steps that nest within this. So, what do we need to do to prepare? Well, according to A, first you need to choose a cache to look for. And then B says the most important thing that will be needed is a GPS. C says the second will be a backpack. D says a pen or pencil might be helpful. All of these things are what we call subpoints within the main idea itself. And you'll notice within each subpoint, we can get as specific as we need to get in order for the audience to understand us completely. So we say, first, you need to choose a cache to look for. Well, how are we going to do that? The more specific we get, the more we hit enter and tab and go within this idea. Like I said, everything so far it pertains to this main idea. A does, B does. All of this stuff reflects on A and specifies A. So you can go ahead and read this. It says, first, you need to choose a cache to look for. A great place to do that is geocaching.com. Even lowercase a and b here explain or give more details about geocaching.com. As far as minimums go, you have to have at least an A and a B for every main idea. Every Roman numeral necessitates an A and a B because if it's a main idea, if it's worth talking about for a third of your body, you have to have at least a couple things to say about it. So, again, every Roman numeral necessitates a capital A and a capital B. Beyond that, it's kind of up to you. You need to decide what important details your audience needs within that idea. But once we get far enough, you'll notice we also have to have a transition between Roman numeral 1 and Roman numeral 2. Transitions are important parts. They're like a bridge that spans a gap, right? So they touch one side of the gap and they touch the other side. And you'll notice that this transition does both. It says once all the materials are gathered, that's touching where we just were, it's time to head out. So a transition is very important. It addresses where we've been and it previews where we're going. Now, it's important to notice you don't want to get repetitive. You don't want to repeat the same language with every single transition, but we still want to do the same idea of addressing where we've been and previewing where we're going next. So, part 2 here, Roman numeral 2, if you remember from our thesis, was actually finding the cache. She says, to get started on your adventure, and A, B, C, D, etc. goes into the steps of how to actually find that geocache. Again, it's up to you how detailed you want to get, but consider your audience. What do they know? What do they not know? Remember, you have to have at least an A and a B. We have another transition here going into part 3. So again, we're previewing where we just were. The cache is found. Time to open it. Remember, part 3 is going back to our thesis. It's what to do after we found the cache, right? There are some more steps that need to be followed after we found the cache. So part three does the same exact thing. We have to have at least an A and a B. Those points, those subpoints, talk about what is relayed here in the Roman numeral three. And again, it's up to us how detailed we want to get. So that's the basis of a body. If you look at the organization, everything that's alike lines up. So here's Roman numeral 3. If I scroll up, it's right in line with Roman numeral 2, which is right in line with Roman numeral 1. Same thing with my capital letters A and B and C and D, all of those line up. My lower or my standard numerals, they line up. So we want to be conscious of our organization, and I'll explain how to do that in a next video.